Welcome to Reality TV News Update, where you can catch up on all of your favorite shows at any time. Which color will win out? Before hidden immunity idols, medallions of power, cursed hourglasses, and blood moons, there was a young whippersnapper named Jeff Probst who had the bravery and audacity to host the television show Survivor, with his hair completely exposed to the elements. This sounds almost inconceivable, but it actually happened a very long time ago. Yes, reality TV's resident hostmaster general went topside commando, allowing his luscious locks of hair to sway gently in the breeze as he called challenges. Probst began donning headgear at some point, realizing that it might not be a good idea to completely disregard sun protection during a show that takes place directly in the sun. And there were some very, shall we say, curious choices along the way, including both cowboy and bucket hats, because, sure, why not? At some point, Probst settled on the now iconic Survivor-branded baseball hats. However, this rock and roll rebel prefers to wear a variety of colors because he simply cannot be restricted to a single shade. His main rotation now consists of black, blue, and orange. He had been adding a green lid to the mix at one point, but that one now appears to be as likely to appear as the final two. But which color is the most popular? I frequently issue emergency #orange hat alerts whenever he sports my personal favorite, as longtime readers are aware. However, Lord knows I am not the only one with an opinion, especially when it comes to Survivor fashion, which is why I asked the cast of Survivor 50 to cast their own votes as to the best color in Probst's baseball hat rotation. Is there going to be a split vote? And then we'll have to go to rocks? And if we go to rocks, what color will they be? Too many questions. Check out how the cast voted in the video below. And because we are doing everything within our power to keep democracy alive, go and cast your own vote in the very important poll under the video. Black, blue, orange, green? One color to rule them all. Want to be kept up with all things Survivor? Subscribe to Entertainment Weekly's free Survivor Weekly newsletter to receive all the most recent news, interviews, and commentary. The torches burned brighter than usual that night. 50 castaways, legends, villains, winners, first boots, and wildcards sat in a massive semicircle unlike anything ever seen on Survivor. The jungle hummed with anticipation, but the tension wasn't about idols, alliances, or blindsides. It was about Jeff Probst's hat. Jeff stepped forward, hands on hips, wearing a perfectly neutral expression, and notably, no hat at all. "Welcome to Survivor 50, he said. Tonight's twist, we settle one of the most debated questions in Survivor history. Boston Rob leaned forward. "We talking idols?" "No," Jeff said. "My baseball cap is the topic of our conversation." The entire cast erupted. "Finally," shouted Tony Vlachos, jumping to his feet. "This is a game inside a game." Sandra Diaz-Twine crossed her arms. "I've been waiting years to say this." Parvati smiled slyly. "This is more dangerous than a meeting with the Black Widow Brigade." Jeff raised a hand. The debate, which shade of hat would look best? Blue? Black? Buff-colored? Or something else entirely? "Red!" yelled Rupert, pounding his chest. "No way," Kim Spradlin said calmly. "Blue. It's timeless, trustworthy." "Black," Tyson Apostle said immediately, slimming, intimidating, mysterious, like I am. "Buff-colored?" Cochran adjusted his glasses. "That feels on brand, but also a little bit jumbled." "Purple," Courtney Yates muttered, "because why not confuse everyone?" Jeff nodded. "You'll debate, you'll run ads, and then you'll vote." "Is there a hidden hat of immunity?" Tony whispered loudly. "Tony, sit down," Soa Lacina groaned. The cast quickly split into factions. Group Blue. Led by Kim, Jeremy Collins, and Yul Kwon, Team Blue argued logic. Blue is calming, Yul explained. It builds trust. Jeff is the anchor of the game. His hat should reflect stability. Jeremy gave a nod. Yeah, when Jeff's in blue, I feel like everything's under control, even when it's not. Denise Stapley added, it blends with the ocean. It reminds me of Survivor. Team Black. Tyson stood at the front of his group like a sarcastic general. Black Hat Jeff is peak Jeff. It says, I've seen everything. I'm unimpressed, and I might stylishly put out your fire. Also, added Parvati, it photographs better. Everything photographs better than you guys, Tyson shot back. Rob Mariano smirked. He's not wrong. Team Red. Rupert had somehow tied a makeshift red bandana around a stick as a flag. Red is passion, he blasted. Fire, blood, adventure. Also danger, said Siri Fields thoughtfully, which fits tribal council. Tony gave an aggressive nod. Yes, red means chaos, and chaos means opportunities. Tony, everything means chaos to you, Spencer Bledsoe said. Team Buff. The group with Adam Klein, Sophie Clark, and Cochran was the most analytical. Buff-colored hat is meta, Adam said. It symbolizes the game itself. Sophie added, it's self-referential. That is adored by survivors. Cochran beamed. It's like Jeff is wearing the essence of Survivor on his head. Tyson mumbled, or he just forgot to bring a real hat. Team Chaos. Other colors. Shane, Cass, and Courtney Powers lacked a concrete strategy. Neon green, Cass said, just to upset people. Camouflage, Shane suggested, so we can't see him coming. Hot pink, Courtney purred, because Jeff deserves to have fun. Jeff couldn't help but laugh as the events unfolded. This, he said quietly to the camera, is why we brought back 50 players. As night deepened, alliances began to form, not for the game, but for the vote. Sandra approached Tony. Listen, as long as it is not blue, I don't care which color wins. Why? Tony asked. Too boring, she said, and I'm not boring. Okay, Tony said. We flip it. We make a big move. On a hat? Sandra asked. On a hat, Tony confirmed. Meanwhile, Parvati and Kim had a quieter conversation. Kim declared, blue makes sense. Parvati smiled, but black wins hearts. Kim tilted her head. So what are you saying? I'm saying we don't just want to be right, we want to win. Kim considered this. You're dangerous. I know. At the edge of camp, Boston Rob gathered a small group. He said, listen, we split the vote. On a hat? Jeremy inquired. Rob affirmed, on a hat. We put some votes on blue, some on black, eliminate the colors of chaos. Denise stated, Rob, there are no idols here. Rob stopped. No one knows. Finally, Jeff called them in. Castaways, it's time to vote. They made their way toward the voting booth one by one. Blue, Kim whispered, placing her parchment. Black, Tyson said, giggling. Red, baby, Rupert declared. Buff, Cochran said, almost reverently. Hot pink, Courtney smirked. Before beginning, Tony paused. This is the biggest move of the season, he said to the camera. Trust me. The votes were cast. Jeff returned with the urn. I'll read the votes. The jungle fell silent. Blue on the first vote. Second vote, black. Third vote, red. Buff, fourth vote. Black, fifth vote. Blue, sixth vote. Tension grew with each reveal as the pattern continued. Blue, black, red, buff, hot pink. Jeff raised an eyebrow. That's unique. The group burst into laughter. It became clear as the final votes were read that it was close, very close. The final parchment was held up by Jeff. Black won the final vote. He stopped. That suffices. Black is the color of the Survivor 50 winning hat. Cheers erupted from Team Black. Tyson stood and bowed. All are welcome, she said. Parvati high-fived him. We did it. Kim shook her head and smiled. Good game. Rupert appeared distraught. Red was robbed. Story of your life, Sandra said. Jeff reached behind the podium and slowly pulled out a black baseball hat. He placed it on his head. The crowd applauded. How do I look? He asked. Like $1 million, Tyson said. Like you're about to blindside someone, Parvati added. Jeff smiled. Good, because right now the game actually starts. The music swelled. 50 castaways, 1 hat, and now one game.
The Survivor 50 camp became a muddy battlefield of legends as the rain fell in sheets, beating against the palm leaves. Despite the fact that tonight's tension had nothing to do with food, fire, or alliances, 50 castaways, icons of 2 decades, huddled beneath a vast shelter. It was about Jeff Probst's hat. Jeff was standing just outside the shelter, his face illuminated by a torch. The storm made his notably bare head shine. 50 castaways, he began, and one question that has divided fans for years. What is my best baseball hat color? A thunderclap echoed. Tonight, Jeff continued, you debate it, you campaign for it. After that, you vote. Finally, Sandra muttered, rolling her eyes. A vote that actually matters. Tony Vlachos appeared like a jack of all trades. This is it. This is the biggest strategic moment in Survivor history. Sarah sighed and said, Tony, it's a hat. Tony whispered, that's what they want you to think. By morning, the camp had fractured into 5 distinct alliances. The strategists of Team Blue, Kim Spradlin, stood at the center, calm and collected. Blue is stability, she explained. Under pressure, it remains composed. Jeff is the only constant in this game, so it stands for trust. Jeremy gave a nod. Jeff feels like he is at home when he wears blue. Ewell added, there's a psychological grounding to blue tones. It does so without intimidating others. Exactly, Denise said. You don't want Jeff to look like he's about to vote you out himself. The power players of Team Black, Tyson retreated as though he controlled the island. Black is elite, he said. It's sleek. It is self-assured. It says, I've seen 49 seasons of nonsense, and I'm still here. Parvati smirked. It's also kind of dangerous, like Jeff might blindside you. Boston Rob chimed in. Black Hat Jeff is Tribal Council Jeff. That's the guy you remember. Also, Tyson added, it hides sweat. Important. Team Red, the Chaos Crew, Rupert, was already fired up. Red is fire, he shouted. It's passion. Survivor's heart is in it. Tony clapped wildly. Yes, red means action, big steps, spy houses. Everything means spy shacks to you, Spencer said dryly. Siri smiled. Red does stand out. It makes Jeff feel more intense. Exactly, Rupert said. You don't ignore red. Team Buff, the superfans. Cochran adjusted his glasses like he was presenting a thesis. The buff-colored hat is symbolic, he said. It represents the fabric of the game itself. Adam eagerly nodded. It's satire. Jeff becomes part of the tribe. It's subtle but meaningful, Sophie continued. A choice that only true fans appreciate. Tyson made his way by. Or the kind of hat you wear when laundry day goes wrong. Team Chaos, the wild cards. Courtney lounged in the sand. Hot pink, she said, because it would annoy everyone. Cass smirked. Neon green, maximum disruption. Shane Powers paced. Camouflage, so Jeff just appears out of nowhere like a jungle ghost. Honestly, Courtney said, any of these are better than Buff. Alliances disintegrated as the debate got more heated. Parvati pulled Kim aside. Black has momentum. Kim crossed her arms. Blue has logic. Logic doesn't always win, Parvati said softly. Kim smiled. Well, neither do flirt tactics. Parvati laughed. Want a wager? Meanwhile, Tony was running laps through the jungle.
"I've got numbers," he shouted. "Red, black, maybe pink. We split the vote." "Idols aren't there," Sarah yelled after him. "That's what makes it dangerous," Tony replied. At the water well, Sandra and Rob had their own conversation. "I don't care who wins," Sandra said. "I simply do not want blue." "Why not?" Rob asked. "Too safe," she said. "Safe doesn't win Survivor." Rob grinned. "You've won 2 times by playing safe." Sandra shrugged. "Exactly." That night, Jeff called them to tribal council. 50 torches lit the darkness like a sea of fire. Jeff stated, "You are not voting someone out tonight. You're voting for something in." "About time," Tyson muttered. Jeff gestured to the voting booth. "It's time to make a decision. What is the ultimate color for Jeff Probst's hat?" They cast votes one by one. "Blue," Kim said confidently. Tyson whispered, "Black," eliciting a dramatic underline. "Red," Rupert declared loudly. "Buff," Cochran said, proudly nodding. "Hot pink," Courtney exclaimed with a grin. Tony paused before writing. "This is either genius," he told the camera, "or the worst move ever. Either way, I'm doing it." Jeff returned with the urn. "I'll read the votes." The tension was electric. Blue on the first vote. Second vote, black. Third vote, red. Buff, fourth vote. Black, fifth vote. Sixth vote, blue. Votes continued to stack, each faction holding its breath. Blue, black, red, black, buff, hot pink. Jeff raised an eyebrow. "Still in it." Laughter broke the tension. As the final votes were revealed, it became clear this was a battle between blue and black. Jeff held the last parchment. Final vote? A pause. Black. He looked up. That suffices. Black is the color of the Survivor 50 winning hat. Team Black erupted. Taking a bow, Tyson stood. "I led this alliance," he said. Parvati high-fived him. "We prevailed." Boston Rob nodded. "Strong game." Kim was kind and smiled. "Well fought." Rupert looked crushed. "Red deserved better, I say." "Red always thinks that," Sandra said. Jeff reached behind the podium and pulled out a black baseball hat. He carefully and slowly put it on his head. The Castaways cheered. Jeff turned slightly. "Well, intimidating?" Siri said. "Iconic," Parvati added. "Terrifying," Spencer joked. Tony leaned over to Sarah. "Next vote, we decide his socks." Sarah buried her face in her hands. Jeff smiled. "All right," he said. "Fun is over." The mood shifted instantly. 50 of you came to play here. Tonight, you debated a hat. Tomorrow, you start playing Survivor. He surveyed the legends around him. And if this vote taught you anything, it's that even the smallest decisions can turn into massive battles. Tyson nodded. He's not wrong. "Grab your torches," Jeff said. "Head back to camp." One thing was abundantly clear as they vanished into the jungle. Alliances already forming and breaking. If they could go over a hat this hard, the game ahead would be absolute chaos.